Get ready, because what you're about to hear isn't just a ranking, it's a deep dive into the electrifying world of live performances, where charisma, stamina, and raw emotion collide on stage. When NewJeans steps into a concert arena, something shifts in the air. The lights hit differently, the crowd screams louder, and every member transforms into a version of themselves that feels almost unreal. But here's the real question: who truly owns the stage when the music starts? Who turns a performance into a moment you can't forget, even days after the concert ends? Is it the leader with commanding presence, the performer with unmatched energy, or the one whose subtle expressions silently steal hearts? In this list, we're not just counting talent, we're uncovering presence, aura, and that unexplainable spark that makes thousands of eyes lock onto one person. So, are you ready to question your bias, rethink your favorites, and maybe even discover something you've never noticed before? Let's begin the countdown. Number 5. Quiet Storm, Mesmerizing Eyes, Haerin. When Haerin steps onto the concert stage, something subtle yet powerful begins to unfold, and if you blink, you might miss it. Unlike performers who immediately explode with energy, Haerin builds her presence slowly, like a quiet storm forming in the distance. At first glance, she might seem calm, almost reserved, but that's exactly where her strength lies. In the high-pressure world of live concerts, where thousands of fans are screaming and every second is unpredictable, Haerin brings a level of control and composure that feels almost unreal. It's not loud, it's not overwhelming, it's precise, intentional, and incredibly captivating. Her signature cat-like visuals aren't just a nickname, they become a storytelling tool on stage. The way her eyes move, the way she locks gaze with the audience, it creates this strange illusion that she's performing just for you, even in a massive arena. Fans often talk about this phenomenon after concerts. I don't know when it happened, but suddenly I couldn't look away from Haerin. That's her magic. It's not about stealing the spotlight instantly, it's about pulling you in without you realizing it. Technically, Haerin is one of the most consistent performers in NewJeans. Her dance lines are clean, controlled, and incredibly stable, even during the most physically demanding routines. While others might rely on explosive energy, Haerin focuses on precision. Every movement feels deliberate, every gesture sharp yet fluid. In a live concert setting, where stamina is tested song after song, this consistency becomes a huge advantage. She rarely looks tired, rarely breaks character, and maintains her aura from the first track to the encore. But what makes her truly fascinating is the contrast between her offstage personality and her onstage transformation. Offstage, she's often described as quiet, introspective, even a little shy. Yet the moment the music starts, that version of her fades away. In its place, you see someone focused, intense, and completely immersed in the performance. It's not a dramatic transformation. It's subtle, almost like watching someone slip into a different state of mind. And that authenticity, it hits differently. There's also something deeply hypnotic about how Haerin handles crowd interaction. She doesn't overdo fan service, she doesn't force reactions. Instead, she gives just enough: a small smile, a brief eye contact, a gentle wave, and somehow, it feels more meaningful than exaggerated gestures. It's the kind of interaction that makes fans feel seen without being overwhelmed. In a concert environment where everything is loud and chaotic, Haerin becomes this calm center that balances the energy of the entire group. And let's talk about moments, the small, almost unnoticed details that only live audiences truly appreciate. The way she slightly adjusts her timing to match the beat perfectly. The way her expressions shift with the mood of the song, even between transitions. The way she stays locked into the concept, never breaking immersion. These aren't things you always catch in recorded videos, but in person, they stand out. They make you realize that performance isn't just about big moments, it's about consistency in the smallest details. Emotionally, Haerin's stage presence feels introspective. While some members project outward energy, she draws you inward. Watching her perform feels less like being hit by a wave and more like being slowly pulled into a current. It's quiet, but it's strong. And once you're in, it's hard to escape. That's why many fans leave concerts with a surprising realization. They didn't expect Haerin to stand out the most, but somehow, she stayed in their mind the longest. So here's the question. In a world where loudness often wins attention, could it be that the quietest presence is actually the most powerful? Number 4. Youthful power, explosive growth, Hyein. When Hyein steps onto the concert stage, you're not just watching a performer, you're witnessing momentum in real time. There's something raw, almost unpredictable about her presence, like she's constantly evolving right in front of your eyes. And that's what makes her so exciting to watch during a live concert. You don't just see what she is now, you start imagining what she's about to become. Hyein brings a kind of youthful energy that doesn't feel forced or manufactured. It's natural, overflowing, and sometimes even slightly chaotic in the best possible way. In a packed arena filled with synchronized choreography and polished performances, her energy cuts through like a spark. She moves with this fearless confidence, not because she's trying to dominate the stage, but because she genuinely enjoys being there. And that joy? It's contagious. You can feel it ripple through the crowd. Technically speaking, Hyein's growth as a performer is one of the most fascinating aspects of NewJeans concerts. Early in her career, she was already impressive for her age, but on stage, especially during live shows, you can see how quickly she adapts. Her movements have become sharper, her timing more precise, and her expressions far more controlled. Yet, she never loses that sense of spontaneity that makes her stand out. It's a rare balance. Improvement without losing authenticity. One of her strongest weapons on stage is her physicality. Hyein has a naturally tall frame and long limbs, which give her movements a wide, dynamic range. When she dances, it feels expansive, like she's filling every inch of the stage effortlessly. In high-energy songs, she amplifies the choreography, making every move look bigger, bolder, and more impactful. And in slower moments, she knows how to dial it back, using her body language to convey emotion in a way that feels surprisingly mature. But what truly elevates Hyein in a concert setting is her connection with the audience. Unlike performers who maintain a fixed persona, Hyein reacts, she listens to the crowd, feeds off their energy, and responds in real time. If the audience gets louder, she gets brighter. If the moment becomes emotional, she softens. It creates this two-way interaction that makes the performance feel alive, not scripted. Fans often leave saying it felt like Hyein was growing more confident with every song, and honestly, that's not an illusion. It's happening right there, on stage. There's also a certain boldness in how she approaches performance. Hyein isn't afraid to take risks, whether it's exaggerating an expression, adding extra flair to a move, or pushing her energy just a little bit further than expected. Not every risk lands perfectly, but that's exactly why it works. It feels real. It feels human. And in a world of perfectly polished performances, that kind of authenticity stands out more than perfection ever could. Emotionally, watching Hyein perform feels like watching a story about growth. There's excitement, a bit of unpredictability, and a sense that anything could happen next. She doesn't just perform songs, she experiences them. And that emotional honesty translates directly to the audience. You're not just impressed by her, you're rooting for her. And maybe that's the biggest reason why Hyein leaves such a strong impression during concerts. She represents potential, not just talent. Every move, every expression, every interaction feels like a glimpse into the future of what she could become. And that creates a unique kind of anticipation that no amount of experience can replicate. So now think about this. What's more powerful on stage? Perfected skill or the raw, unstoppable force of someone who's still growing right in front of you? Number 3. Effortless charisma, duality queen, Hanni. When Hanni fam steps onto the stage, the atmosphere doesn't just change, it softens, sharpens, and somehow becomes more alive all at once. There's an ease to her presence that feels almost unfair, like she's not even trying. yet everything lands perfectly. In a live concert setting, where energy can sometimes feel chaotic or overwhelming, Hanni becomes this magnetic center that balances everything. She doesn't demand attention, attention naturally finds her. What makes Hanni so captivating is her duality. One moment, she's bright, playful, and radiating warmth that makes the entire crowd feel included. The next, she flips into a more intense, focused performer with sharp expressions and controlled movements that hit every beat with precision. And the transition? Seamless. You don't see it coming, it just happens. That unpredictability keeps the audience locked in, constantly wondering what version of Hanni they'll get next. From a technical perspective, Hanni is one of the most well-rounded performers in NewJeans. Her dance style is clean but never robotic, expressive but never exaggerated. She has this natural sense of rhythm that allows her to ride the music instead of chasing it. In a concert environment where live vocals, choreography, and crowd interaction all happen at once, that kind of balance is incredibly rare. She doesn't look like she's managing multiple elements, she looks like she's flowing through them. And then there's her facial expressions, arguably one of her strongest assets on stage. Hanni doesn't just perform choreography, she performs emotion. Every lyric, every beat, every transition is reflected in her face in a way that feels genuine, not rehearsed. It's subtle, but powerful. A small smile, a slight shift in her gaze, a quick change in intensity, it all adds layers to the performance that go beyond what you hear in the music. For fans watching live, these details create moments that feel personal, almost intimate, even in a massive venue. But what truly elevates Hanni during concerts is her connection with the audience. She has this rare ability to make a huge crowd feel small. When she looks out into the audience, it doesn't feel like she's scanning, it feels like she's connecting. Fans often describe this strange feeling after concerts. It felt like she was performing just for me. And while that might sound impossible, that's exactly the illusion Hanni creates. It's not about big gestures, it's about sincerity. There's also a confidence in her performance that doesn't come across as dominance, but as comfort. Hanni looks like she belongs on stage, like it's a space where she can fully be herself. That comfort translates into freedom, freedom to play with timing, to experiment with expressions, to interact with the crowd in ways that feel spontaneous rather than scripted. And in a live setting, that spontaneity is everything. It keeps the performance fresh, unpredictable, and deeply engaging. Emotionally, Hanni's stage presence feels warm and inviting. While some performers create distance through intensity or power, she does the opposite. She pulls you closer. Watching her perform feels like being part of something, not just observing it. And that emotional accessibility is what makes her stand out in a concert environment where connection is just as important as skill. There's also something worth noting about her consistency. Whether it's the first song or the final encore, Hanni maintains the same level of energy, precision, and emotional engagement. She doesn't fade, she doesn't lose focus. If anything, she becomes even more immersed as the concert progresses. That endurance, both physically and emotionally, adds another layer to her already impressive stage presence. So here's something to think about. In a performance filled with powerful visuals and high-energy moments, could it be that the most unforgettable presence is the one that feels the most real? Number 2. Sunshine energy, global charm, Danielle Marsh. When Danielle Marsh steps onto the concert stage, it doesn't just feel like a performance, it feels like a celebration that suddenly got brighter. There's an instant shift in energy, like the lights got warmer, the music got more alive, and the crowd became part of something bigger. Danielle doesn't just perform for the audience, she performs with them. And that difference, you feel it immediately. Her biggest strength on stage is something you can't easily teach: genuine joy. It's not the kind of smile that's practiced in front of a mirror, it's spontaneous, contagious, and constantly evolving. Whether she's hitting a powerful dance move or simply walking across the stage, there's this natural glow around her that pulls people in. Fans don't just watch Danielle, they respond to her. They smile back, they scream louder, they become more engaged without even realizing why. Technically, Danielle is incredibly versatile within NewJeans. Her dance style blends precision with fluidity, allowing her to adapt seamlessly between different song concepts. In upbeat tracks, she amplifies the energy, making every movement feel larger than life. In softer, more emotional moments, she slows things down just enough to let the feeling breathe. It's this adaptability that makes her such a strong concert performer. She doesn't just follow the set list, she transforms with it. But what really sets Danielle apart in a live concert setting is her communication. She has a natural ability to bridge the gap between the stage and the audience, especially in international settings. Fluent, expressive, and emotionally open, she often takes the lead in engaging the crowd, talking, laughing, reacting in real time. And it never feels scripted. It feels like a conversation. In a massive venue filled with thousands of people, Danielle somehow makes it feel like an intimate gathering. There's also a unique theatrical quality to her performance. Danielle doesn't just execute choreography, she embodies the mood of each song. Her expressions are bold, clear, and full of personality, making it easy for even the farthest fans in the arena to feel connected to what she's doing. She understands that a concert isn't just about being technically perfect, it's about being visible, memorable, and emotionally present, and she delivers on all three. Another thing that stands out is her stamina and consistency. Concerts are long, demanding, and often unpredictable, but Danielle maintains her brightness from start to finish. Even during the final songs, when exhaustion usually starts to show, she still looks fully engaged, fully present, and genuinely happy to be there. That kind of endurance isn't just physical, it's emotional. It shows how deeply she enjoys performing, and that passion becomes infectious. And then there are those unforgettable moments, the ones that don't show up in official recordings. A spontaneous laugh when something unexpected happens. A playful interaction with a member. A moment where she locks eyes with the crowd and just feels the atmosphere. These are the moments that fans carry with them long after the concert ends, and Danielle creates them effortlessly. Emotionally, Danielle's presence feels like warmth. It's uplifting, reassuring, and full of life. In a high-energy concert filled with intense performances, she becomes the heart, the element that keeps everything connected. She reminds the audience that beyond the choreography and visuals, this is about joy, connection, and shared experience. So now think about this. When the music fades and the lights go down, what stays with you longer? The power of the performance, or the feeling someone leaves in your heart? Number 1, commanding aura, unshakable leader, Minji. When Kim Minji steps onto the concert stage, it doesn't feel like she's entering the performance. It feels like the performance begins because she's there. There's a weight to her presence, a kind of grounded energy that instantly stabilizes everything around her. In the chaos of lights, sound, and thousands of screaming fans, Minji stands like an anchor, calm, focused, and completely in control. And that control, it's not forced. It's natural. Minji's strength on stage isn't just about technique, it's about authority, the kind that doesn't need to be loud to be felt. While other performers might rely on explosive movements or exaggerated expressions, Minji commands attention through subtlety. A single look, a slight tilt of her head, a perfectly timed pause, these small details carry a power that resonates across the entire venue. It's the kind of presence that makes you stop and think, wait, why can't I look away? From a performance standpoint, Minji is one of the most stable and reliable members of NewJeans. Her dance execution is consistently sharp, clean, and controlled, even in the most demanding parts of the choreography. But what sets her apart isn't just precision, it's intention. Every movement feels purposeful, like she understands not just what she's doing, but why she's doing it. And in a live concert, that level of awareness translates into a performance that feels complete, not just impressive. There's also a maturity in Minji's stage presence that goes beyond her years. She doesn't rush moments, she lets them breathe. While others might move quickly from one expression to another, Minji holds her gaze just a little longer, lets the emotion settle just a little deeper. And that patience, it creates tension, anticipation, and ultimately, impact. It's a technique often seen in seasoned performers, yet Minji executes it with effortless confidence. But perhaps the most defining aspect of her concert presence is her role as a leader, not just in title, but in energy. When the group transitions between songs, when the crowd's energy fluctuates, when unexpected things happen on stage, Minji becomes the stabilizer. She reads the situation, adjusts her energy, and subtly guides the flow without making it obvious. It's not something casual viewers always notice, but once you do, it changes how you see the entire performance. Her connection with the audience is also uniquely powerful. Unlike performers who rely heavily on outward expressions, Minji's approach feels more internal, yet it still reaches the crowd. When she looks out into the audience, there's a sense of sincerity, almost like she's fully present in that exact moment. It's not about creating a performance, it's about sharing one, and that authenticity builds a different kind of bond, one that feels deeper and more lasting. There's a certain stillness in Minji's presence that contrasts beautifully with the high energy of a concert, and ironically, that stillness is what makes her stand out the most. In a sea of movement, she becomes the focal point. In a storm of sound, she becomes the center. It's a reminder that power on stage doesn't always come from doing more sometimes. It comes from doing less, but doing it with absolute conviction. And then come the defining moments, the ones that stay with you long after the concert ends. The way she opens a performance with quiet intensity. The way she carries the group through transitions without breaking immersion. The way she closes a song with a look that feels like a statement. These moments don't just showcase her talent, they reveal her identity as a performer. Emotionally, Minji's stage presence feels grounding. While others lift you up or pull you in, she centers you. Watching her perform feels like standing in the middle of something powerful yet controlled, like everything is exactly where it should be. And in a live concert setting where unpredictability is constant, that sense of control becomes incredibly impactful. So now, after everything you've seen and felt, here's the final question. When all the lights fade, the music stops, and the crowd slowly leaves, who is the one that stays in your mind not because they demanded attention, but because they owned the moment without ever needing to ask for it?